Hey guys, it's me Ness, and we're going to react to 12 smartest WWE counters ever. I remember that back then there were great or smarter or smartest counters that I remember back in, mostly I remember Randy Orton, where WrestleMania 21, you got Undertaker versus Randy Orton, where Undertaker tries to chokeslam Randy but counters an RKO, which is a smooth and one of the best counters at that time. Then fast forward, you remember the Royal Rumble 2008, Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton, where Jeff hit the twist of fate, but it was switched up into an RKO as a counter. Like Randy is good when it comes to counters, especially because the RKO is out of nowhere. Similar to Shawn Michaels' super kick, where you don't know what's gonna happen until he hits the super kick or the switching music. But there are good counters throughout the years, especially that um, involve where a major move turned into a submission by the opponent, or you could argue if it's a move that's gonna strike, like super kicks or a running knee. Somebody is going to counter that into any move that it's either a finisher, signature move, or maybe a submission move in order to, get the best at the person who execute the moves. But in other words, there are some wrestlers knows how to counter throughout the years, especially like I remember Mustafa Ali, countering RKO from Randy, which is, I'm not sure if he was the first one, because I can guarantee you that was the most smooth type of counter that we have seen from him. So let's get started with the video.
One of the most incredible counters I have ever witnessed. Turned it into a tombstone.
The smartest wrestling counters in WWE. Number 12, the RKO handstand at Hell in a Cell 2019. And Mustafa Ali was given the opportunity of a lifetime at the 2019 Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Ali was booked in a singles match against WWE great Randy Orton, and he showed the world that he could hang with the very best WWE had to offer. The most notable spot in the match saw Orton go for his patented RKO, only for Ali to counter with a handstand. A counter of this nature to the RKO had never been delivered, and the best thing about the counter was that it made a ton of logical sense to counter the move in this way. The counter received a thunderous pop from the crowd as they clearly knew they had seen something special, and even Michael Cole on commentary had no choice but to react with organic enthusiasm. Number 11.
Yep, that the way that Ali did the counter, that was good, especially that WWE gave him a good push. But regardless of the outcome, of course, it didn't turn out to be what it was. Like they saw something from him, but again, he did whatever he could, and again, the counter that he did could be that he's the only one who can do that. I may be wrong, but there are, you could argue that there are a lot of people who could counter the RKO, but that was the counter that I really think that there was nobody else except Ali who can do that.
The perfect tombstone at WrestleMania 25. There's a reason as to why The Undertaker vs Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25 is so tremendous, and one of the central reasons is that the finish was insanely creative and managed to go down without a hitch. During the final moments of the WrestleMania Classic, Mr. WrestleMania would go for a moonsault, however he was unsuccessful as The Undertaker would then catch him in midair and execute a tombstone piledriver to win the match and extend his WrestleMania streak to 17-0. Due to the risk of this counter, it could have easily gone wrong if either HBK or the Dead Man got their timing off by a second, but thankfully these were elite performers who had the utmost trust in each other, and they managed to deliver the spot in the best way imaginable. Number 10.
Arguably one of the best match of WrestleMania history, and man, that should be a 5-star, to be honest. Like again, for us it was a 5-star for sure. For Dave Meltzer, on the other hand, I get it. It's not in the Tokyo Dome, but regardless, when you look at the transition from HBK's moonsault to counter by the Undertaker hitting the tombstone, it was a nice way to finish the match. And knowing that they have another match next year, which is in 26 between the Streak versus Career, um, arguably that 25, in my opinion, was the best match that they gave. During 26, it was the most emotional because, of course, who deserves to to win? Like, does the streak keeps being alive, or would you like to see HBK's career to end, or maybe you want HBK's career to continue but the streak will end? Again, like 25 is the best match that they gave, and I know that that was a 5-star classic for sure.
Naomi uses her momentum, SmackDown 24. The November 15th, 2024 edition of SmackDown was main evented by a women's title match as Nia Jax defended against Naomi. The match received rave reviews, and one particular spot in the match was widely celebrated online. That spot saw Nia Jax get set to perform a body slam from the ropes onto Naomi, and then at the last moment, Naomi shifted her weight, and this allowed her to counter the move into a body slam of her own. The timing of this counter had to be precise, or else it would have looked horrendous, but thankfully both women delivered a counter that resulted in one of the greatest spots of 2024. Number 9, Mr. Perfect's perfect counter, WrestleMania 18. The pre-show match for WrestleMania 18 featured Mr. Perfect, Test, and Lance Storm taking on the trio of Scotty 2 Hotty, Albert, and Rikishi. During the final moments of the match, Rikishi was about to perform his iconic stink face on Mr. Perfect when Perfect smartly put his white towel in front of his face. This meant that Mr. Perfect's face was saved from any humiliation, and the poor towel was then stuck up the former Intercontinental Champion's backside. There have been a number of iconic counters to the stink face over the years, but this is without a doubt the most memorable, and it seemed fitting that it took place in front of over 60,000 fans. Number 8, Eddie Guerrero counters the Rock Bottom at Raw 2002. In 2002, WWE fans got to see just how good Eddie Guerrero was in the squared circle when he was given the opportunity to wrestle a featured match against The Rock. In this match on Raw, the two had unbelievable chemistry and without a doubt should have led to a feud between the two legends. There's a spot in the match that is often replayed when fans discuss the match, and it took place when The Rock would go to finish Latino Heat off with a Rock Bottom, and this is when Guerrero smartly countered the Rock Bottom with an arm drag and pin combination. The timing was perfect, and it looked like Guerrero was wrestling Rey Mysterio as The Rock delivered his part of the spot with grace and ease. The final boss.
That, if I remember correctly, I watched that video where people thought that it was the end when The Rock hit the rock bottom of Eddie. And the thing is that Eddie, of course, he's been battled with Rey Mysterio and other cruiserweights or lightweight opponents. So of course, we all know that Eddie is considered to be one of the most, you could argue, the most athletic plus a part of a lucha libre type of style of wrestling that for some people, hardcore fans know those type of things, but mostly casuals, they may know a little bit about the lucha libre style. And the thing is about Eddie, it was so smooth. Like the way he, the Rock hit the rock bottom, and he decides to counter with an arm drag and gets to the pin, which that was the most smooth transition that he did.
And the clip The Rock decided to share featured the aforementioned counter. Check out Eddie's nasty rock bottom counter. He was a bad dude. Found this throwback gem of my world title match with one of the GOATs, Eddie Guerrero. Insanely talented wrestler. I loved wrestling him and always admired his relentlessness in the ring and intensity. Most importantly, he was a good man and taken from us way too early. Miss you and thanks for the house, brother. A wholesome and fitting tribute to one of the greatest to ever lace up a pair of boots. Number 7, Shelton Benjamin learns from his mistake, Raw 2006. Shelton Benjamin and Shawn Michaels created magic in 2005 when they delivered one of the most iconic spots of the Ruthless Aggression era. Michaels countered a springboard attempt from Benjamin into a sweet chin music, and whilst this type of spot is commonly found in modern wrestling, for a 2005 audience, it was truly the most exciting thing in the world. What fans often forget is that HBK attempted to repeat this spot in their rematch. However, Benjamin learned from his mistake, and he had a surprise in store for the WWE Hall of Famer. As the two went to perform the exact same spot as their first match, Benjamin would counter HBK's superkick into a kick of his own. This is the type of booking that made wrestlers look competent, as it made Benjamin look like the smartest wrestler in the ring. Benjamin was fully aware of what his opponent was going to deliver, and he knew that he needed to prepare. Number 6, Dean Malenko.
Here's the thing, that counter from Shelton, that was considered to be a great decision in order to make sure that people will believe that this guy, yeah, the first time he got super kick. So when you pair them again, of course you have to make sure that he knows how to counter the move, because if you let him get super kick again, it's like, you know, people are gonna make fun of Shelton if that's the case. But what he did was a good way to, you know, to cover up what happened the last time when he got super kick, which is a good counter.
Smooth save, Judgment Day 2000. Dean Malenko is well established as being one of the most underrated stars in wrestling history. Whilst Malenko never broke out into the main event scene in any wrestling company he was attached to, his body of work spoke for itself, and it's no surprise that the former light heavyweight champion found work behind the scenes years after his retirement. Malenko was given numerous pay-per-view showcases in 2000 in WWE, and it was at the 2000 Judgment Day pay-per-view he took on Perry Saturn and Eddie Guerrero in a triple threat match. Guerrero went for a head scissors on Malenko, and Malenko managed to smoothly transition the spot into a side slam. It looks like Guerrero was going off balance, so it's entirely possible that Malenko improvised to potentially recover from an impending Guerrero botch. Number 5, Kurt Angle counters the leg drop. A No Way Out 2006 featured a certified classic as Kurt Angle took on The Undertaker for the world title. The match was a masterpiece, and it was quite rightly argued by many fans that the match should have taken place at WrestleMania 22. Both men brought their A game, and The Undertaker was a different animal in the match, as he was selling like his life depended on it, and he was doing everything that he could to make Angle look credible. One spot in the match saw The Undertaker go for his trademark leg drop on the apron of the ring. However, Angle had The Undertaker scouted, and he proceeded to snap on the ankle lock onto the dead man. The dead man would proceed to scream in agony, and it was just one of the many counters in the match that solidified the match's status as a 5-star classic. Number 4.
That match, yeah, obviously a 5-star classic, and should have been a WrestleMania match, of course. But, you know, I'm not sure what was the booking decision at the time, because we all know that at WrestleMania 22 you got Undertaker versus Mark Henry in a casket match. Then you got Kurt Angle, who was the world champion, had to face Royal Rumble winner Rey Mysterio, and Randy Orton, who pinned Ray at No Way Out to earn that spot. So it was a triple threat match. And when you think about it, it should have been a match between Undertaker and Kurt Angle, because that was a classic for sure. The thing is that we may not know what was the decision behind all that, because to be honest with you, it was a great match, not gonna lie. The counter of Kurt from the leg drop, grabbing the leg into an ankle lock, that was great. Especially the Hell's Gate from Undertaker, and then Kurt decides to put his weight to cover him up and wins the match. That was a good transition as well. Like, you can argue that this should have been a 5-star, to be honest, but again, for us it was a 5-star. For other people it doesn't, and it's kind of sucks, but that's how it is. Overall, that match alone might be one of their best matches between those two for sure, because again, Kurt Angle was on the face of being the wrestling machine, and Undertaker was this guy that I would say the hybrid version, or maybe we could say the dead man, but they were in their prime. So of course that was the best match that they ever had between those two.
Chokeslam into an RKO, WrestleMania 21. One of the most exciting elements of the streak was witnessing near falls and truly believing that the streak was about to come to an end. Heading into The Undertaker vs Randy Orton at WrestleMania 21, it was firmly expected that The Undertaker would extend his WrestleMania win streak to 13-0. However, due to how high WWE were on Orton, there was a distinct possibility that WWE did the unthinkable. In fact, a spot in the match made fans convinced that the streak had just come to an end, and it occurred when the dead man got set to perform a devastating chokeslam on Orton, only for Orton to counter it into an RKO. The spot was handled so well as nobody saw it coming, And if this would have marked the end of the streak, then it certainly would have been a memorable way to bring the iconic streak to a close. Number 3, a mid-air Batista bomb at SummerSlam 2008. WWE decided to deliver a major dream match for the 2008 SummerSlam.
This one, I think if I remember correctly, this was the moment where Cena's neck was, he was injured at that time when Batista hit the powerbomb. It's funny to think that Cena had to come back at Survivor Series 2008, knowing that that was a neck injury. And if it's not serious, it's good, but damn, the fact that he got injured at SummerSlam in August and had to come back at Survivor Series November, it was surreal for Cena, for sure. But again, that might be the best counter during that time because, again, Cena was trying to do some new moves, especially that leg drop bulldog on the top row. But Batista, we all know that he's about to counter either that spine buster that he did counter that one back in WrestleMania 26, but that was considered to be one of the best counters, either the spine buster or SummerSlam 2008, the powerbomb.
Event. Batista and John Cena would face off, and the two had a vastly underrated match that is often overshadowed by a spot which resulted in Cena hurting his neck. That spot occurred when Cena went for his patented leg drop from the top rope, and Batista was able to counter this into a Batista bomb. Did this counter look amazing? Yes, without question, but it was apparent that the landing was off, and the subsequent reports that Cena was injured didn't exactly come as a surprise.
The thing is about that match, they should at least end that match. That power bomb, and then Batista should win. But what's crazy is that Cena had to kick out, but he didn't move too well, knowing that the neck injury, and then what did Batista did? He kicked in the head, hits another power bomb, and wins the match. That should be the finish of the match. And to be honest, I don't know if that was the right decision, but arguably that should be the finish because that Cena's already hurt at that point. So added another power bomb or kick in the head and then power bomb is like, man. But again, like, respect to Cena that he keep up even if his neck got hurt.
The spot would often be referenced on TV in the years after the SummerSlam encounter, and it even became a key storyline element in their 2010 feud, which was a great touch of continuity from WWE. Number 2, Styles Clash out of nowhere, Money in the Bank 2019. The Styles Clash can often be an awkward move to set up and execute. However, when AJ Styles was wrestling Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank 2019, he knew he was going to be able to deliver a Styles Clash that fans would never forget. When Rollins went for his finishing move, the curb stomp, somehow AJ was able to counter this into a beautiful looking Styles Clash. There was an audible gasp heard by the live crowd as they knew that they had seen a once-in-a-lifetime spot. Both men deserve a ton of credit for getting the timing spot on. And number 1, Rolling Thunder into a Power Slam at SmackDown 2013. The Rolling Thunder is one of RVD's key moves, and in the summer of 2013 on an episode of SmackDown, Randy Orton decided to deliver the perfect counter. RVD and Orton were wrestling Christian in a triple threat match, and when RVD went for his trademark move, Orton popped up and hit his power slam in midair. It wouldn't be hyperbolic to claim that this was one of the celebrated counters in WWE history. The camera work also deserves a ton of praise, as this specific spot couldn't have been broadcast any better to the fans watching at home. But there you have it, folks.
That's the video, guys. Unfortunately, I understand that could be number 1 for regardless of the situation, right? Rolling Thunder and then Power Slam. It would be better if they could try like the RKO because you got the choke slam and RKO at WrestleMania 21 for Undertaker and Randy Orton, but there were some great counters as well. The Power Slam was alright, but nevertheless that was a good video. All I can say is this: give this a like, subscribe to WrestleMania, and also give it a like and subscribe to the channel for future uploads of the videos in the channel. And thank you for watching. We will see each other in the next video. Peace.